Welcome back to another video of DC vs. Vampires. When we last left off, the entire situation seemed just about hopeless, but the superheroes broke off into 3 teams to enact their missions. As we open up in issue 8, we have John Constantine, Damian Wayne, and some unnamed vampire approaching the House of Mystery, which is a magical house thought invisible to the vampires. Constantine is greeted, and the 3 are welcomed in. The sight we are greeted with are some of the most powerful magic users in all of the DC comic landscape. They are trying to find a magical solution to the vampire problem. The unnamed vampire speaks out about how hypocritical and cruel. In a panel I find pretty ironic and funny. The vampire they are trying to cure with magic has his head completely obliterated. Constantine wishes the group of wizards luck in their work, and excuses himself so he may take Damian back to home. That leaves the unnamed vampire to stay behind as the next magical test subject to experiment on. We pick up back in the miniature city with Black Canary eavesdropping on a conversation between John Constantine and Oliver Queen. We hear that Constantine has gotten him a magical way to transport into Smallville, although he thinks it's a one-way trip. She walks into the room to break up the conversation and asks them what they were discussing. Constantine leaves the room for them to talk, but Black Canary already knows what's going to happen. Green Arrow is going to try and save all of the humans trapped in the breeding farms in Smallville because he feels it's the right thing to do. So instead of trying to talk each other out of their dangerous missions, they choose to enjoy one another's company while they can. Gotta keep this channel family friendly, so let's go see what the wizards are up to. The Phantom Stranger is telling some of the others how difficult it is to try to reverse a process they don't even fully understand. They then hear a knock at the door, and assume it is John Constantine coming back again so soon. Dr. Fate goes and opens the door, and is greeted with a horrific sight. It is an extremely powerful group of vampire magic users, led by Jason Blood. He's very vague in his statement, but he says he's there to make them forget something. From there, we jump to Barbara Gordon Batgirl waking up from a nightmare. A man is seen smoking in the dark background, and Barbara yells at Constantine for being in her room unannounced as she is getting up to turn on the light. When the light is turned on, we see that Constantine is in some pretty rough shape, to put it mildly. She immediately goes over to him and asks what happened, but just like Jason Blood said earlier, he can't remember. The only thing that Constantine can remember is that he went somewhere and people were in trouble. He tried his best to help him, but there were flames, and the more he burned the more he forgot. Whatever it was he and the other magic users were planning, none of them can remember. So John tells Barbara to go to Gotham City, take Harley Quinn with her to show the way. Most importantly, make them pay for everything they have done. And that is just what Batgirl sets off to do. She shows up to the lab in full Batgirl attire, and tells the scientist that she'll be taking Miss Quinn with her. As expected, they aren't willing to cooperate, and the inevitable fight breaks out. Frankenstein charges in to attack Batgirl with Professor Pig clothes on her heels. It's during this fight that we learn Harley Quinn's blood is fatal to vampires, which will come in very handy for Batgirl's mission. Harley then escapes from her constraints and goes completely wild on Hugo Strange for torturing her. As Batgirl and Harley exit, we see Black Canary was waiting for them outside. They tell Harley they're going to Gotham, and let's just say she's less than thrilled about the idea. Frankenstein then approaches the group and offers his services in their mission. And for those of you who aren't aware, Frankenstein is a total powerhouse in the battlefield, so I can't wait to see him in action. Now let's take a look at how well Supergirl's mission is going. As Supergirl is talking to Steel, a vampire Atlantan approaches from the depths behind them. The pair are saved when none other than Black Manta impaled the creature with a trident. These monsters of the sea are scouts for the vampire Aquaman, a general of Nightwing the Vampire King. The group of unlikely heroes fight with everything they have in them to try and overcome these forces. The 3 of them manage to defeat all of the Atlantans besides one. The last one has the depowered Supergirl at the sword, but before he can kill her he seems to start having problems with his heart. In the next panel, we see him being burst open from the inside. Steel assumes that Black Manta has the power to create water tigers and just kept it secret, but that's not what happened at all. It was actually Jaina the Wonder Twin who has been secretly stowing away, because she also wants to go on their mission, which Supergirl happily welcomes her aboard. We end this issue with a tiny bit of hope. Each of the 3 groups have their missions and are setting off to complete them. The odds of even one of these teams succeeding is very small, much less all of them. But what matters now is that they have a chance, and that's all the DC superheroes have ever needed to fight. Win or lose, live or die. It's all going to have to be put on the line if they can hope to topple the vampires. I can't wait to see where the story goes from here. If you are enjoying this series, be sure to check out some of my other videos. Thanks for watching.